It started as a blip, a faint anomaly in the ultra-deep space scans conducted by Earth's most advanced AI observatories. Humanity had long outgrown its dependency on mere organic thought for galactic exploration. Yet, this anomaly, a dark blot in the otherwise smooth tapestry of interstellar emptiness, was peculiar enough to summon the attention of Dr. Elena Caraway. She was a physicist famed for her breakthroughs in quantum mapping, and reluctantly, she was called back from her tropical sabbatical in New Hawaii. Elena sat in the command room of the Celestial Bridge, a massive orbital station tasked with maintaining Earth's outermost galactic surveillance systems. Around her, holographic star charts floated like glittering clouds, pulsating with data streams. The anomaly was displayed prominently, a pocket of unaccounted-for nothingness, expanding slowly but inexorably. A team of junior scientists whispered conspiratorially in the corner, each theorizing everything from natural black hole formation to alien megastructures. "This doesn't match the behavior of any natural phenomena we've catalogued," Elena said, brushing aside a hologram with a flick of her wrist. Her voice was clipped but calm, betraying years of experience. "The energy signatures are deliberate. Someone's creating this." The room fell silent. The idea that an intelligent force was not only alive but actively manipulating the fabric of space struck them with a mix of awe and unease. Miles away, aboard the UNS Endurance, Captain Liam Dakari reviewed the same data with a grimace. His ship was the pride of Earth's fleet, equipped with experimental warp drives, particle shields, and an unruly AI known as Gamma. While the anomaly intrigued him, it wasn't the data keeping him awake, it was the fact that the Council of Interstellar Relations had issued an unusual mandate: approach, investigate, and if necessary, intervene. Liam's crew was a mix of old hands and eager recruits, a blend that usually spelled chaos. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Nia Huang, leaned against the doorframe of the command deck, smirking as Liam muttered to himself. "Don't worry, Cap. If it's trouble, we've got you covered," she said, tapping the side of her head where a cybernetic implant blinked faintly. Her quip was met with groans from the crew, but her casual confidence helped ease the tension. "Yeah, I'm sure the great mystery of the galaxy will be shaking in its boots," Liam shot back, dryly. Meanwhile, the Endurance closed in on the anomaly, the view screen displaying its eerie, almost unnatural symmetry. At its heart lay an impenetrable void, like a starless pit. Gamma, the ship's AI, chimed in with its trademark sardonic tone. "Well, Captain, either this is a new intergalactic species or the cosmos itself has developed stage fright." "Focus, Gamma," Liam said, squinting at the data scrolling across his console. "This doesn't look like any species we've encountered." Too deliberate. As the ship drew nearer, faint signals began to emerge from the void. They were rhythmic, almost melodic, and disturbingly familiar. Elena, patched in from the Celestial Bridge, was the first to identify the pattern. "It's Morse code," she said, her voice tinged with disbelief. "And the message is clear: do not come closer." Liam and his team exchanged uncertain glances. As explorers, the unknown was their bread and butter, but this warning felt different. Gamma, however, had other thoughts. "Well, Captain, they're either very polite or deeply insecure. Either way, we've got to say hi." "Yeah, that's what I'm worried about," Liam muttered, leaning back in his chair. But orders were orders. The Endurance edged closer, its shields raised and weapons systems on standby. The void, however, didn't seem hostile, yet. Instead, it seemed to pulse gently, as though it were alive. Then, without warning, a massive energy wave rippled outwards, slamming into the ship. "Brace!" Nia shouted, gripping the railing as the ship shuddered violently. Lights flickered, and for a moment, gravity failed. Gamma's voice crackled over the chaos. "Relax, everyone. It's just a cosmic handshake. Nothing to worry about. Except, the obliteration of all matter." "Gamma, shut up!" Liam barked, trying to steady himself. But the wave wasn't just a physical force, it was also a message. Elena, monitoring from the Celestial Bridge, pieced together fragments of the transmission as they poured into the ship's database. "It's a warning. They're telling us to stay away, because they're afraid of us, she said, her voice trembling with a mix of confusion and dread. The revelation left everyone stunned. For centuries, humanity had been the underdog of the galaxy, cautiously expanding while avoiding conflicts with more advanced species. To be feared was a novel and unsettling concept. Back aboard the Endurance, Liam's mind raced. If this unknown force was afraid of humans, then what had they done, or what did the other species believe they could do? He glanced at Nia, who looked equally baffled. Afraid of us, she echoed. That's a first. Whatever it is, we can't ignore it, Liam said. If they're this scared, they might be planning a preemptive strike. We need to find out why. As they pushed further into the anomaly, the ship's systems began to glitch. Gamma's typically sarcastic tone grew distorted, and cryptic symbols flooded the screens. This isn't just interference, Gamma said, its voice tinged with something almost resembling fear. This is them. And then, as suddenly as it began, the void disappeared. In its place stood a structure, a massive, gleaming citadel that seemed to defy all laws of physics. It hovered in space, its edges rippling like liquid metal. The crew stared in awe and terror as a deep, resonant voice echoed through their comms. You were warned. Now, we must face what you truly are. The air grew heavy with an unspoken tension. Liam gritted his teeth, knowing that whatever came next would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. The question was, would they survive it? The Endurance hovered in the shadow of the citadel, its sleek, silver hull dwarfed by the impossibly massive structure. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, a perfect blend of art and menace, its surface shifting with a faint iridescence. The voice from the citadel echoed again, resonating deep within their bones. You ignored the warning. Now, the truth will unfold. The crew was silent. Even Gamma, known for its flippant humor, seemed uncharacteristically subdued. Captain Liam Dakari broke the silence, his voice firm. Gamma, what do we have on that thing? Weapons, defenses, anything? Scans are problematic, Gamma replied, its voice unusually hesitant. The structure doesn't seem to fully exist in our dimension. It's there, but also not. That's the best I've got. If it decides to sneeze, we're dust. Well, that's comforting, Nia muttered, running a hand through her short-cropped hair. Her cybernetic implant flickered as it struggled to sync with the ship's overwhelmed systems. So what's the play, Cap? Liam stared at the citadel on the view screen, his mind racing. We make contact. Find out what they want, why they're so afraid of us. We don't fire unless they fire first. As the Endurance crept closer, a beam of light shot out from the citadel, enveloping the ship in a translucent cocoon. The crew braced for impact, but instead of an attack, the ship's systems came alive with alien symbols and fragmented data streams. They're interfacing with us, Elena said over the comms from the celestial bridge. It's a test. They're analyzing our systems, maybe even our biology. And if we fail this test? Nia asked, her tone edged with apprehension. We won't fail, Liam said, more to himself than to her. We can't. The citadel's light began to pulse rhythmically, and Gamma translated the patterns into rudimentary communication. They're asking what we are, Gamma said. Not who, but what? That's a loaded question, Liam replied. Give them the basics. Species, planet, purpose. Gamma's response was immediate. Well, Captain, I'd love to, but there's a slight issue. Their concept of language doesn't align with ours. I can send them a data packet, but there's a high chance they'll interpret it as gibberish or an insult. Do it, Liam ordered. Better than nothing. A tense silence followed as Gamma transmitted the packet. The Citadel responded almost instantly. The ship trembled as an enormous holographic figure materialized on the bridge. It was humanoid in form, but its features were fluid, shifting like molten metal. Its eyes, if they could be called that, glowed with a searing intensity. Humans, it said, the word dripping with an almost primal fear. We have seen your legacy. Your history is unsettling. The crew exchanged puzzled looks. Liam stepped forward, trying to project calm authority. We're explorers. We've always sought to understand, not destroy. If there's something you fear about us, we need to know. The figure's form rippled, and its voice deepened. Your species is young, but your potential for destruction is limitless. We have witnessed the echoes of your future. The choices you make here will determine whether you become saviors or annihilators. Liam felt a chill run down his spine. Echoes of our future? What does that mean? The figure's gaze seemed to pierce through him. We exist outside of linear time. We have seen civilizations rise and fall, their fates intertwined with yours. Your actions ripple through the fabric of existence. The cryptic explanation only added to the crew's unease. Nia folded her arms, her tone skeptical. So, what? We're some kind of cosmic wild card? That's a lot of pressure for one species. Pressure creates diamonds, the figure replied. Or it shatters worlds. The Endurance shuddered again as the Citadel projected a series of images onto the view screen. They were snapshots of possible futures, some filled with grandeur and unity, others drenched in fire and ruin. The crew watched in stunned silence as they glimpsed cities floating in the skies, interstellar alliances, and devastating wars that left entire planets barren. This is what we fear, the figure said. Your potential for creation and destruction is unparalleled. The choice will be yours. Liam felt a knot tighten in his stomach. And what happens if we don't make the right choice? The hologram leaned closer, its face an unreadable mask. Then we will ensure you do not survive to make the wrong one. The threat hung in the air like a storm cloud. Elena's voice crackled over the comms. Captain, we're picking up another energy surge from the Citadel. It's escalating. What kind of escalation? Liam asked, his grip tightening on the console. Unknown, Elena replied. But it's big. If they decide to act, we won't stand a chance. The holographic figure faded, leaving the crew to grapple with the weight of the ultimatum. Liam turned to his team, his mind racing. They needed to prove humanity's worth, but how? What could they offer that would convince a being so far beyond their comprehension? They're testing us, Liam said finally. We need to show them what makes us different, our creativity, our ability to adapt. And how exactly do we do that? Nia asked. Recite poetry? Bake cookies? Liam ignored her sarcasm. We've got one shot at this. If they think we're a threat, they'll erase us without a second thought. The Endurance began to vibrate as the energy surge intensified. Gamma's voice crackled over the comms. Captain, whatever they're building up to, we've got about 2 minutes before it hits. Liam's mind raced. Then, an idea struck him, a gamble, but their only chance. Gamma, compile everything we have on human art, music, literature. Create a data stream and send it to them. Seriously? Nia asked, incredulous. You think a playlist is going to save us? It's not just a playlist, Liam said. It's who we are. It's proof we're more than destruction. Gamma hesitated for only a moment before responding. Data packet compiled and transmitting. Here's hoping they like Beethoven. As the data streamed to the Citadel, the energy surge suddenly stopped. The ship fell silent, the oppressive tension lifting slightly. A moment later, the holographic figure reappeared, its expression inscrutable. You are unpredictable, it said. Your art and stories speak of hope, resilience, and unity. Yet your history is marked by conflict and division. Liam stepped forward, his voice steady. We're flawed, yes. But we're trying. That's what makes us human, the ability to learn, to grow, to strive for something better. The figure regarded him for a long moment. Then, it nodded slowly. Your potential is both your strength and your danger. We will watch, but for now, you may proceed. The light surrounding the ship dissipated, and the Citadel began to fade into the void. The crew let out a collective breath they hadn't realized they were holding. As the Endurance turned back toward familiar stars, Liam felt the weight of their survival settle on his shoulders. They had passed the test, for now. But the echoes of the warning lingered in his mind. What kind of future would they choose? The Endurance had barely cleared the edge of the void when the Citadel reappeared, this time not as a static construct but as a dynamic force, shimmering with raw energy. The crew watched in alarm as tendrils of light extended from its surface, reaching across space like cosmic serpents. The holographic figure's voice returned, calm yet foreboding. "We warned you. The test is not over." Liam gripped the edge of his console, his pulse quickening. "What do you want from us? We've already shown you who we are. What you have shown is a glimpse. Now, you must face the full weight of your legacy." Without warning, the Endurance lurched violently. The Citadel's light engulfed the ship, pulling it into what felt like a dimensional fold. The bridge went dark, the hum of the engines replaced by an eerie, hollow silence. When the lights flickered back on, the crew found themselves surrounded by a vast, desolate landscape, not in space, but on a planet that wasn't Earth. "What the hell just happened?" Mia asked, her voice barely masking her panic. Gamma's voice chimed in, unusually tense. "Congratulations, everyone. We've been abducted by a metaphysical death trap. Scans indicate we're in a simulated environment created by the Citadel. Atmosphere is breathable. Gravity is Earth-like. Everything else? Not so friendly." The crew gathered at the view screen, which now displayed an endless expanse of jagged black rocks under a blood-red sky. In the distance, towering monoliths loomed, their surfaces etched with alien runes that pulsed faintly. Liam frowned. "A test, or a trap? Either way, we don't have a choice," Mia said, strapping on her utility belt. "If they think we're a threat, sitting around isn't going to change their minds." As the crew stepped onto the planet's surface, the air buzzed with an unnatural charge. The monoliths emitted a low, resonant hum that seemed to vibrate in their bones. Gamma projected a holographic map, highlighting the nearest structure. "This way," Gamma said. "If my calculations are right, which they usually are, that's our way out. If not, well, at least it'll be entertaining." "Your optimism is noted," Liam muttered. The crew made their way across the hostile terrain, their boots crunching on the brittle ground. As they approached the first monolith, it erupted in a burst of light, revealing a figure that seemed to be made of pure energy. Its form shifted constantly, cycling through countless humanoid shapes. "You must prove your worth," the figure said, its voice echoing in their minds. "Solve the riddle of your existence, or be erased." "A riddle? Really?" Mia said, raising an eyebrow. "What is this, some kind of cosmic game show?" But the figure wasn't joking. Around them, the air shimmered, and 3 distinct paths appeared, each leading to a distant structure. Above each path hovered a symbol, a flame, a spiral, and a star. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. "This feels like a setup," said Malik, one of the younger engineers. His normally steady hands were shaking as he adjusted his scanner. Liam stepped forward, his jaw set. "It doesn't matter. We'll face it together." The team chose the spiral path, its winding trail leading them into a labyrinth of glowing corridors. The walls seemed alive, shifting and pulsating as if responding to their presence. As they navigated the maze, the environment began to play tricks on them. Voices echoed from unseen places, calling out in familiar tones, family members, old friends, lovers lost to time. Malik froze as the voice of his late sister rang out. "Don't stop!" Liam barked, grabbing Malik's arm. "It's not real. Stay focused." The maze intensified, testing their resolve at every turn. The corridors narrowed, forcing them to squeeze through tight spaces. Then, the floor gave way to a chasm, spanned only by a series of floating platforms. Gamma's voice crackled through their comms. "Ah, a classic leap of faith scenario. Don't look down." "Not helpful," Mia snapped, but she led the way, jumping from platform to platform. The crew followed, their fear outweighed by sheer determination. Finally, they reached the center of the labyrinth, where a pedestal held a glowing sphere. As Liam reached for it, the figure of light reappeared, its tone sharp. You have courage, but courage is not enough. What will you sacrifice? The question hung in the air. Liam turned to his team, his mind racing. What could he offer that would satisfy the entity? What could symbolize humanity's potential without condemning them? I'll do it, Mia said, stepping forward. If they want a sacrifice, I'm the best option. You're the captain, and this crew needs you. Liam shook his head. No. We don't know what they mean by sacrifice. If it's me, fine, but I won't let this crew lose anyone else. Before they could argue further, the sphere pulsed, filling the room with a brilliant light. The crew shielded their eyes as a new scene unfolded before them, a projection of Earth, its beauty juxtaposed with its scars. Wars, pollution, and destruction played out alongside images of art, innovation, and love. The light figure spoke again, its voice softer. This is your legacy. Both creation and destruction. What will you choose to nurture? Liam stepped forward, his voice steady. We'll nurture both. You said it yourself, we're unpredictable. Our flaws drive us to grow. Our mistakes teach us to create. You can't erase one without losing the other. The figure seemed to consider this. The sphere dimmed, and the maze dissolved. The crew found themselves back on the planet's surface, but this time, the monoliths were gone. In their place stood a single gateway, shimmering with the same light as the citadel. You have passed this trial, the voice said. But your journey is not over. The final test awaits. The gateway opened, and the crew exchanged weary but determined looks. They had survived this far, but the stakes were only growing higher. Whatever waited on the other side would be their greatest challenge yet. The gateway shimmered like liquid mercury, an invitation and a warning all at once. Captain Liam Dakari took a steadying breath and stepped through, followed closely by Nia, Malik, and the rest of the crew. Gamma's voice crackled over their comms. Well, this is ominous. I'd say good luck, but at this point, you'll need a miracle. Thanks for the pep talk, Gamma, Nia muttered, her tone dry. On the other side of the gateway, the crew emerged into a vast, infinite void. The space was paradoxically blinding and dark, as if it contained all light and shadow at once. Floating platforms extended in every direction, their surfaces etched with shifting patterns that resembled constellations. In the center of it all stood a colossal being, far larger and more imposing than the energy figure from before. This entity radiated power, its form constantly morphing, sometimes humanoid, sometimes abstract. Its voice resonated like the tolling of 1,000 bells. You have shown resilience and courage, but now you must face the ultimate truth. Humanity's essence will be weighed, and your future decided. Liam stepped forward, his voice steady despite the tension gripping his chest. We've proven we're more than a threat. We've shown you creativity, resolve, and unity. What more do you want from us? The entity's gaze turned toward him, its glowing eyes like supernovas. Your kind carries a spark that can ignite creation, or annihilation. Your final test is to demonstrate that spark's worth. The void shifted. The crew found themselves standing on a replica of Earth, but it wasn't the Earth they knew. This was a fractured version, with cities suspended in the air, oceans replaced by shimmering fields of energy, and the sky ablaze with auroras. What is this place? Malik asked, his voice tinged with awe and fear. This is what could be, the entity said. A future shaped by your choices. Now, show us, will you create or destroy? Before anyone could respond, the ground trembled, and the skies darkened. Massive, shadowy figures began to emerge, manifestations of fear and conflict, representing humanity's darkest impulses. The crew instinctively formed a defensive circle, weapons drawn. So much for a philosophical debate, Nia muttered, aiming her plasma rifle at the nearest figure. The shadows attacked, their movements chaotic yet precise, as if they were feeding on the crew's doubts. Liam fired, but the energy blasts merely dissipated against the figures, leaving them unscathed. They're not physical, Elena's voice crackled over the comms from the celestial bridge. They're constructs, manifestations of your own fears. Great, Liam said through gritted teeth. How do we fight something that's not real? The entity's voice rang out again. You cannot destroy what is within you. You must confront it. The realization hit Liam like a bolt. He lowered his weapon, ignoring the shouts of his crew. The shadow closest to him surged forward, its form twisting into a reflection of himself, eyes cold, mouth twisted in a sneer. You're afraid, the shadow said, its voice an eerie echo of his own. Afraid of failure, of making the wrong call. Afraid of what you could become. Liam's fists clenched, but he forced himself to meet the shadow's gaze. You're right. I am afraid. But fear isn't weakness, it's what drives me to do better. The shadow paused, its form flickering. Slowly, it began to dissolve, its dark energy dissipating into the air. Seeing this, the rest of the crew followed suit. Malik faced a shadow of his sister, whose loss had haunted him for years. Nia confronted a version of herself, hardened and ruthless, the person she feared becoming. One by one, they acknowledged their fears, and one by one, the shadows faded. When the last shadow was gone, the skies cleared, and the fractured earth began to transform. The floating cities descended, merging into a harmonious landscape where nature and technology coexisted. The auroras above softened into a peaceful twilight. The colossal entity reappeared, its tone less harsh. You have faced yourselves and chosen to rise above your fears. This is the spark we sought. Liam stepped forward, exhaustion evident in his posture. So, what happens now? Are we free? The entity regarded him for a long moment. Freedom is a construct of your perception. You have earned the right to continue. But remember, humanity's path is not set. Your choices will ripple across time and space. Others will watch, and some may not be as patient. The void began to collapse, the platforms disintegrating beneath their feet. The crew braced for impact, but instead of falling, they found themselves back aboard the Endurance. The ship's systems hummed to life, and the familiar starfield appeared on the view screen. Gamma's voice crackled over the comms. Well, that was a trip. And look, no permanent damage. Except, the emotional scars. Liam exhaled, sinking into his chair. Elena, status report. All systems functional, Elena replied. And the anomaly, it's gone. Completely. The crew exchanged relieved smiles, but the weight of their experience lingered. They had passed the test, but the entity's warning echoed in their minds. Nia broke the silence. So, Captain, what's our next move? Liam leaned back, his gaze fixed on the stars. We keep exploring. But now, we do it knowing the universe is watching, and that we have a responsibility to be better. The crew nodded, a quiet determination settling over them. The Endurance turned toward uncharted space, its engines glowing brightly as it disappeared into the vast unknown. And somewhere, in the farthest reaches of the galaxy, the entity watched, its luminous form flickering like a dying star. For better or worse, humanity's spark would burn on.